little Cooley.
That just
You know, it's finally
Get
getting
ready
Cooley.
for the puns. They're coming.
A little Cooley in Arizona.
Like a dad joke.
Maybe later. A little Cooley in Arizona.
Wow. Well, thank you for your patience, everyone. I mean, what a morning it's been.
Yeah, and by the way, for those complaining that the show was late, we kind of had to redo the entire show on the fly, just saying.
Yes. Oh, and as
Well, when I say we, I mean Sean and Leah.
Yeah.
and as,
Petey and I weren't doing anything.
as
no.
Cole points out in the chat, it's already time to throw away that roster prediction.
Yeah, way to go on that.
Yeah, so
Redo.
that show has a shelf life of 2 days, but that's okay because we actually are going to do another attempt at the lines given today's information, which let's just get right into it. Craig.
Wait, are we sure Matt Dumma's not going to sign to blow it up again?
God
Okay.
Dang. All right. Well, it started with a tweet from the Arizona Coyotes, a very cryptic one that said, "It's sunny with a chance of 92 today. Don't you love when it starts cooling down here?" And I have to be honest, I saw this and I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Coyotes Twitter just saying something silly again. I have no clue.
Yeah, because their Twitter admin can.
Be a little off the rails.
Yeah.
So I genuinely didn't think, but you know, people much smarter than me put 2 and 2 together, put 92.
Well, can we say who? I mean, it was our
Espo.
boss,
Yeah.
Espo. Espo asked me, and I hadn't even seen it because I was knee deep in researching another story. I hadn't even seen the tweet. Probably wouldn't have seen it till I got here for our regularly scheduled show. But Espo's like,
What does this mean? Cool.
so I looked into it.
92. I mean, Cooley's number.
Thanks, Espo.
And of course, Craig did what he does. He asked around and reported, per a source, there's momentum toward Logan Cooley signing his ELC to play for the Arizona Coyotes this season.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an announcement today, but I'd be surprised if this isn't announced on Thursday or Friday. It's probably going to get done this week. And as we know, when Logan Cooley announced that he was going back to Minnesota, I mean, everybody thought it was a fait accompli at the time, but then...
Fait accompli.
See? You want to use that, Petey?
Jesus
You can use that if you
Christ.
want.
Really?
Yeah.
Thought it was a done deal for those that don't speak Craig.
Sure. You can use that if you want. But as Logan Cooley said in the Q&A that I did with him in early July, development camp, hadn't closed the door on it yet. He didn't want everyone go crazy because he was still thinking about some things, but he left the door open, and that's all it took for people to go crazy at the simple possibility of Logan Cooley coming to the Coyotes this season. This obviously changes a lot. We'll get into all of that, but want to get your guys' thoughts. And Leah,
Well, it's funny.
Go ahead.
It's funny because when we talked about this when he was here at development camp, and this was the narrative coming into development camp was, we all heard it. Oh, he doesn't want to be here. Oh, he doesn't want to go to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's negative, and that's why he's going back to school. And I said, wait till he gets here. And you know who's getting dressed in that same locker room he got dressed in? Austin Matthews. His gear was hanging in the stall at the ice stand. And I go, oh, there's Clayton Keller's gear. Well, wait a minute. I have to register for classes. I have to go to Sociology 101 in the fall. Or I can jump on a private jet and go to Australia for... Wait a minute. And make money doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So I knew once he got here for development camp and he got a little taste of it. And boy, he did get a little taste of it, meaning he was the guy. Like, he was the one that the media wanted to talk to. He was the one the scouts wanted to see. The coaches wanted to see. It was all about him. And I think he liked that.
Yeah. And I want to address that narrative because I put that in the show notes because I heard it from Twitter, so it must be true. Or
It must be true.
It's not
X.
Twitter anymore,
X.
although I refuse
X
to
gonna
call it
give
what
it
it's
to
called
ya.
now because I don't believe it's going to stick for more than a couple weeks before they change their mind
The
again.
Diefenlock's back in the office.
But there were a lot of people around North America saying he doesn't want to play for that trash organization. That's why he's gone back. None of them talked to Logan Cooley, of course. None of them talked to any of the people that mattered when forming those opinions. And if you, again, I did the Q&A with him, and that's one thing. But if you could hear his tone of voice when I suggested that he wanted to stay all 4 years of college, or he didn't want to come here. I mean, it was disdain in his voice when he was talking. He was like, there's no chance that's happening. So he just dismissed it out of hand, and now we see the result. We have known pretty much from the start Logan Cooley really wants to play here. He really wants to turn pro. There were some things that needed to be ironed out, and obviously they have been ironed out. I think part of that is simply this team maybe being a little bit more competitive, maybe having a little more direction that swayed him. We'll get into that as well. But Logan Cooley is going to get signed, and he's going to be with the Coyotes next season.
Woo!
Hooey, does that change everything?
It changes everything. Like, You can see it in the chat, the energy of the chat. Like, people have never been so excited about a prospect. There's this rejuvenated like sense of excitement that Coyotes fans haven't felt in a very long time. And you go back to about 2 months ago when the vote went down, and that was probably the lowest point for the Coyotes to be a Coyotes fan. And just days later, Logan Cooley makes his decision, and you know, it wasn't the sole reason, but he did mention to you that the arena did play a slight role, and it just felt so doom and gloom. And I think it wouldn't have been as doom and gloom if not for the arena situation. But it always felt like, even from that time, that conversation you had with him, that the door wasn't 100% closed. But I think it's so hard to feel hope as a fan of this team. So we all were kind of like, well, we just won't go there. But as you mentioned, what he said to you at development camp, what he said to PD when they did walking and talking at development camp, you kind of got the sense that there was still a chance for this. And here we are today talking about him changing his mind, and it's not official yet, so we're not speaking as if it's official, but all signs are kind of leaning that way. Elliot Friedman, quote tweeted you, said he expects something in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, I agree with that timeline.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah. So let's talk about why you think he changed his mind.
I do think being here and seeing the excitement, and I think just getting an opportunity to meet with the coaching staff, and he was around those players. Keller was here at that time, and I think that makes a difference. And the reality starts to set in when you're just looking at it on a piece of paper going, well, I'm going to go back to the U of M. I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to try to win a national championship. And then all of a sudden, reality, you're getting close now. Like, school is starting soon. And the key word there is school. and
August 28th
real.
at the University of Minnesota,
it's
by
real.
the way. I looked it up.
Yeah, so it's a month away where you got to start going to classes. You got to start doing homework, working on projects. Buddy, I love Minnesota. We all know this is a true statement, but it's cold there. And he comes here and goes, wait, I can play hockey and that would be my job. And I think reality started to set in for him that I wanted to win a national championship there. I believe he wanted to accomplish that. And you talk about things, individual awards like the Hobie Baker, maybe. But you get a chance, and all of us, here's the one that it's always bothered me when people say, wow, I should go back to school. And I don't, if Craig went to school for journalism and his dream job is to write for PHNX, and PHNX comes knocking to Craig Morgan after 2 years and say, Craig, we think you're so good. We're going to give you a whack of money to do the job you're going to school for. You just got to come early. You would jump at it. Like, you would absolutely jump at it because that's what he went to school for. He went to school to play hockey. He's got an opportunity to do that. I think this is a good choice for him. I do want to, before we continue, temper everybody just a bit. Pump the brakes just a little.
On expectations.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think he's a very good player. I think he is the future number one center of this franchise for years to come. That is not October of 2023. That is not this season. He is going to have to learn. He's going to have to grow. He's going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to improve. He's going to have to develop. He's going to develop in the National Hockey League, not in the NCAA. But when you look over the last two drafts and you look at players that got drafted even 2 years later, like Lafreniere gets drafted, man, that next year he struggled. But Quentin Byfield didn't play the next year, and he's the guy that was picked second overall. It doesn't happen overnight. Don't look for his numbers. If he doesn't get a 20-goal season this year, he might. He might be Rookie of the Year. I don't know. But let's not, hey, if he's got 1 goal through 10, let's not go, oh, what a big mistake.
Yeah. And listen, I think you can make a strong argument that going back to Minnesota might have been better for his development. But he wants to turn pro. They're not going to stand in his way. I don't know if Logan Cooley will spend any time in the AHL this year. I have a hard time envisioning that. In light of this decision, I wonder if that was part of the negotiation, because I'm certain he doesn't want to play in the AHL, but could it benefit him maybe to spend some time down there? Probably. I'm curious how they're going to manage all this, because I'm with you. Expectations for a guy who's just coming off his freshman season of college, those guys are few and far between that can step right into the NHL and be impact
We
productive
saw it with
players.
Kyle Turris that came after 1 year, and that was one where he was pushed by the organization to turn pro.
Yeah.
He's one when I look back over the franchise going, gosh, he should have gone back and played another year because they felt like they were forced to play him in the NHL because they pushed so hard to get him here. And I think just what you said about going to the American League, Kyle Turris peaked too quickly. And you gave it to him. You anointed him as the NHL player right away. And the second year, you go, gosh, he really could go to the American League. And his development, his timeline, his psyche, all of that got all screwed up.
Yeah.
You worry about that with
Requested
Cooley.
a trade, right?
Don't over
after some crazy contract.
because they go, okay, maybe his development's moving a little too fast. Maybe we need to send him back down. So I don't anticipate that with Cooley. I think Cooley makes this hockey team. I don't see them sending them to the American League. I just don't.
Leah, sorry, I'm going to say one more thing before you take over, start driving the bus straight again. In terms of reasons, aside from what Petey mentioned, a lot of this stuff is wrapped into one. Remember, the agency that represents Logan Cooley also represents Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller's happy. Clayton Keller's been happy with the offseason moves. We've heard from him. Clayton Keller's happy. That means maybe that whole camp is happy. That probably played into this as well. And then when you're talking about the core, now the core is seeing some direction after the Tempe vote, and everyone's like, okay, what's going on? Well, they signed Jason Zucker. They signed Alex Kerfoot. They brought back Nick Bustad and Troy Stetcher now, and they added Sean Dursey. They've done a lot of things in this offseason to say, hey, we are really trying to take a step forward. And they're saying that not only to Clayton Keller, they're saying that to Logan Cooley. I think that played a factor here too.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, it was so doom and gloom 2 months ago in May. And while there's not a solution yet for the arena, there does appear to be some direction. Like we left that week saying, are they even going to play here next season? Now it's, okay, there's 6 sites we're looking at. There's all the moves the team made. There's the happiness of Clayton Keller, like you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I think it feels very different today to be a Coyotes fan than it did 2 months ago.
No question.
And I'm sure it's the same to be a Coyotes player as well. I mean, that had a huge impact on the lives of these people. And to see the guys, I think guys returning like Bustad and Stetcher is as much of a, testament to the direction of the team as is guys like Zucker and Kerfoot coming here. I mean, obviously, it's not like the big flashiest names of all time, but it is, I think it goes back to what Troy Stetcher said too, where there's so much narrative looking at this team from the outside in, and when you get here and experience the culture, it's so different. And maybe in his time at development camp, Logan Cooley had a chance to experience that and a chance to be in the spotlight. I mean, if you're going to be a franchise player of a team, like there's players who like having that responsibility, like having that on their shoulders, like being the guy. So that's why it doesn't make sense for me when people are like, well, why would he want to play there? Because he has the chance to be a star here. And maybe it's not his I was about to say his freshman season, his rookie season, but it could be. It's really funny. The chat is like, Cooley for Calder.
Oh boy!
Don't forget, Connor Bedard has his rookie year this season.
Connor Bedard will be playing as well.
Oh boy,
but
that'll be fun though.
But this is a guy that
Between
Chris Peters has told us
CHGO.
repeatedly is the best player in this draft class, right?
Yeah.
He believed it even at the time, and there are a lot more people on that bandwagon now
Wow.
thinking that Logan Cooley was the best player from his draft class.
Wow.
So here he comes.
Yeah. So before we get into lines, which
Oh God!
LOL.
Why, we should have known, right? When we did it,
we
should have known
literally
something was
should
going
have
to blow it up.
tweet it.
We should have known. But before we get into the specific lineup, I just want to know from you guys what you think. Does this change? Because literally yesterday at our mailbag, we talked about realistic expectations for this team. And we're not sitting here saying Logan Cooley coming in the lineup is going to have like the impact that Connor Bedard year 1 or anything like that, or Connor McDavid or even Sidney Crosby when in his rookie year. But how does this change the expectations for the team?
Well, Pete and I
Or
were
does
just-
it?
I mean, I think it does a little bit, but again, you have to temper what you expect from Logan Cooley, and I wonder how they'll shield him a little bit from those expectations, even matchups, things like that. I mean, I don't know what a point total is. I feel like the team itself will set a goal. Maybe they'll set a goal even higher of being a playoff team, but I think realistically they can set a goal of getting to the 80-point barrier. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. A lot of things will have to happen for that.
2 years
play
ago,
out.
this team got 57 points. Last year, they got 70. I said early before they made all these moves, this team was going to take a step backwards in the standings. and fall below that 70-point mark again. These changes with Zucker and Kerfoot and the re-signing of Bukestad and now Cooley. This
and Dursey.
This and Dursey. I think this team has more offense than they had prior to all these signings. So I think that they will surpass the 70-point plateau. However, we still have to see their goaltenders play consistently for 82 games. We also need to see a defense that is, they're nice guys, but this isn't a top 6 that's going to be able to defend against some of the skill and speed in this Western Conference. I think they're still going to give up goals. Matt Dumba makes this.
Like, if you slot him in on the second pair,
I'll start talking playoff teams.
If
they can sign a defenseman, I could see them.
Wow.
I don't think they make it, but I think it's like, remember those Talkit years where you were in it until February and you go, oh, this is a maybe, and then they started to teams that really ramped up.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a team that's a buyer at the trade deadline and those type of things. So I think eventually they'll fall out of. But I think this is the team, if they can get somebody on the back end. I think there will be points in this season leading up to the new year that they will be in a playoff spot up to the new year.
Wow.
But I don't think this is a team that's a playoff team. I think 80 is a high bar for this team. I think an 80-point season is a high bar for this team. And it's going to take nearly 100 to make the playoffs. So they're going to miss the playoffs by a whack.
Yeah.
But I think that'll
happen.
happen.
Time you've used that term that
Whack?
I've never heard before.
Whack?
A whack. A
Did
whack I? Of, yeah.
Oh.
You guys each have your own special vocabulary.
Yeah, his is smart. Mine's not so much.
But what I was going to say,
multisyllabic.
I think there's the difference between the internal expectations and the external, because for the guys in the locker room, they all want to make the playoffs. Like, that's their goal. And that's what they're going to be talking about. Like, whereas I think you go back 2 seasons, every hockey player wants to make the playoffs, and that's what they're trying to do every single night on the ice. But, like, they weren't ever going to make the playoffs. And I think on the inside, they might realistically feel that. I think on the outside, as fans and people who talk about this team, maybe we have a little bit more tempered expectations. I've been seeing a lot of 75 to 80 points in the chat, and I think that's kind of what we were. I mean,
it's an improvement.
It's an improvement. It's kind of what we were saying yesterday. I mean, I think both of you thought they might take a slight step back. I think maybe with Cooley in the lineup, maybe they take that slight step forward. Not a huge step forward, that slight step forward, but that's what the players on this team wanted. That's what the Kellers, the Schmaltzes, the Krauses wanted. And I think for the fans, it's what they wanted as well. And now we're getting it. So it just feels like a huge kind of change of tide, not from going to be the worst, well, not the worst team because they were 6th worst, but not going from 6th worst to playoff.
Goal to be the worst team. But.
Yeah, not going from 6th worst to a playoff team, but going, I mean, and Bill Armstrong himself said it, looking at teams like Ottawa, teams like Buffalo, Detroit, kind of that next tier of letting your young players develop, letting them get experience in the NHL. I think maybe they can be somewhere in that range, maybe more of like a Detroit, Ottawa rather than Buffalo. I think Buffalo might be one further step ahead. But yeah, I mean, that time can be coming soon.
And the other thing this does too, and we saw that with Andre Tournier coach team, he makes guys better. We saw that last year, and the expectations were better. But what we're going to get to next when we start talking about lines is now there's an internal push. Now there's a guy fighting for my job right behind me. And I think having, it's when it's easy to put your top 12 forwards on a lineup sheet, you're not going to get guys competing for jobs. When you look at 14, 15, 16, 17 forwards deep and go, oh shit, they're only going to have 12? I better be good, and I better play hard, and I better come prepared because there's somebody fighting for my job. And I don't think there's, you take Keller and Schmaltz, and there are a few guys, they're locked in. But even a guy like Lawson Krause, who's a core player of this team, he's going, gosh, there's people coming for my spot. I need to play well. And I think that internal competition of guys that are here, and by no means do I mean that Krause isn't in the lineup. That's not what I mean. I mean, for his ice time on that left-hand side, I think there's guys going, gosh, I need to perform.
Yep.
And I think that internal push will make this team better.
I also think about who this impacts now. If Logan Cooley's here, you got to look at a guy like Travis Boyd, right? Wonder what his role is now on this team because we looked at the center depth chart before when we did our lines, and there were clearly holes, but now, and I'm not saying Logan Cooley's ready, we'll get to this in a minute, to be a number 1 center, but with Barrett Hayton's progression, now you could look at 2 guys you could say there's an argument to put him in the top 6, and then you have Bukestad and McBain in your bottom 6, which is a really good situation in a 3 and 4.
Yeah. I think this team now, you're starting to fill needs, and I think you've got skill. I think you've got size. I think you've got speed. I think you've got grit. Again, and I'm saying that about the forwards. I still think there's holes in the back end, and that's going to ultimately cause this team problems. And I'm sure Stetch and Brown are listening because they listen to our show. Well, maybe they probably aren't listening, but they fit in the lineup. We just need somebody above them in the lineup. You need that 1 and 2 top pair to shut them down. Even Dursey, we've talked about Dursey a lot as an offensive guy. Dursey hasn't proven himself in this league yet.
Nope.
And he's not a guy that you're going to anoint as, he's the top right-handed defenseman on the team. He's still a kid. Like, his defensive, he's got weaknesses. His read of the rush is questionable. He's played on a different system. There's a lot of things he's going to have to prove himself here. I still think they are lacking in the back. In the front end, this 4-line depth is as good as they've had in years in the top 4. And you look at a player like Liam O'Brien last season. Liam O'Brien expected to play every night. He played 56 games last year, but he expected to play every night. He's going to be fighting for ice time this season.
Yeah,
and
for games,
I think
period.
For games.
Just to be in the lineup.
And I think that you're starting, when you see that, and you see Travis Boyd 2 years removed from a top line center, now got to fight for a job in this lineup. I think that just proves that this team is getting better up front. And I think there are teams that are going to sleep on this Coyotes team again. And I tell you what, this lineup inside the mullet,
boy howdy.
Boy howdy.
And then you look like I look 2 years down the road and wonder what might be here in 2 years. Is Connor Geekie ready at that point? Is Maverick Lamoureux ready at that point? Is Josh Doan ready at that point? Are Simashev and Neil Boot and Artem Duda ready at that point? You start looking at the influx of players that could be coming soon. And don't forget, over the next 3 drafts, I believe they have 12 picks in the first 2 rounds. So they're going to continue
to do that.
Stocking. This was Bill Armstrong's dream at the beginning, to be able to stack draft upon, like, do 4 to 5 straight drafts where you're getting a lot of high picks. They have the assets. Now, the other thing that those assets do, if you get a couple years down the road and this team, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, so temper your expectations. Rebuilds can take a long time. But if you get one of those rare situations where a team takes a big step forward, now you have the draft assets that you can use in trades to maybe acquire an existing player that pushes you a little farther along.
And one of the other things I want to talk about with the future, I agree that this sets the table for the future. And one thing that Bill wanted to do, he didn't want to have those, hey, we're going to run for the playoffs really good for 2 years and then we're going to be suck again. He wants to build a perennial playoff team that they're in it all the time. He wants Pittsburgh. You want to be Tampa. You want to be those organizations that continue their fighting for a playoff spot. But one thing to remember as a fan of this team and fan of these players is, as more of these players develop and come into the lineup, somebody's got to go. And we talked about what it did to this franchise watching Christian Fischer walk out the door this season. Mm-hmm. He's not the last of the guys that you as a fan may really, really, really like. And he might be a guy on this franchise that you've got his sweater, like Cassian Altex. But there are guys that you're going to like. But guess what? They're going to have to move on. And I think that's going to be a hard realization for this franchise, is because you get married to these players that are so, I really like him and he's good in the public. And he's, buddy, we're moving past it. We're going past that guy. We're moving past him. And I think that's going to be a hard part for some of this fan base to realize some of their fan favorites may be gone in 3 or 4 years to make room for some of these other players.
I want to come back to the Christian Fischer thing in a moment when we get to lines, but I'm guessing you want to do an ad read at some point. You tell me.
I mean, yes, yeah, I do. And by the way, as Joe from Winnipeg said, smash the like button. Everybody, if you're watching.
By the way, Joe's logo?
Yeah, I love it.
An avatar?
Like Joe, but the Winnipeg Jets logo.
That's fire.
We love Joe. Thank you.
That's a fire.
Hit the like button on this video. I'm also
I'm reading, we have logos.
I'm reading all the comments. It's so, people are hilarious. Like playoffs at the mullet, Stanley Cup or bust, Cooley for Calder. I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm.
Can you imagine the conundrum for the league
if this team's a playoff team,
like this year or next year? We know they're going to be there.
They have to play all their games on the road.
Good Lord!
I don't know what they would do.
And I tell you what, a year from now, that's going to be close.
I don't know what they would do. I honestly don't know what they would do.
Anyway.
It can't help. Sorry. It can't help the media there.
I'm curious what the odds on BetMGM will be for this team to be a playoff team. I'm curious what Logan Cooley's, addition to this lineup would mean for futures. There aren't futures, futures in terms of the win total. We haven't seen that yet. But stay tuned on BetMGM. Maybe some good value. You can also do futures like Calder Trophy winner. I don't know if they're up now, but keep checking back on BetMGM because they always have so many more things you can bet on than you think, including the state or province of the Stanley Cup, that in the weeds. BetMGM, it's the best place to bet on sports. And right now, the Women's World Cup, Team USA plays tonight. You got MLB every single day, so just tons to bet on the BetMGM app. And if you haven't signed up yet, use the bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use that bonus code PHNX. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane and talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 Nevada, 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan, 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
All right. And what a momentous day. I feel like everybody needs to head to their closest Circle K and go inside, get some snacks. I love celebrating good things with snacks. What
about a Polar
treat? Pop? Or a Polar Pop. I mean, whatever.
That'll cool you down. That'll cool you.
Oh, yeah. Cooling you down. We haven't had enough Cooley puns.
Oh, my God. Episode. He should be the new Circle K, spokesperson. There
should be cutouts of Logan Cooley in every Circle K.
Love it.
Absolutely love it.
He could do the ad with Booby.
If you know, you know. If you were here yesterday, we need to get Logan Cooley on the little Circle K screens with us PHNX folk. Make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff Circle K has to offer. Right now, you can text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. Okay. Let's talk lines.
Let's talk lines. Let me say this before. The one thing that I should throw out there still, and I know a lot of people are thinking about this. A lot of people are posting snide comments on Twitter, X, or whatever. I know you're surprised by that. The arena is a big component here, right? We knew it was a big component with Clayton Keller, with the core, really. You wonder what's being said behind closed doors, what sort of assurances they're getting or what they're being told about the arena. We heard Javier Gutierrez on the draft floor saying that they've narrowed it to 6 sites. We keep hearing that they're very confident. The NHL clearly is confident that they still have options. There's not going to be any forced sale or anything like that. You wonder what's being said behind closed doors that might have helped in this whole cocktail as well to convince Logan Cooley it's time to turn pro, aside from the fact that, listen, after talking to the guy, and Petey, you probably got the same vibe, he was itching to turn pro. He just wanted to turn pro. He really wanted to do it. Yeah,
and I encourage people, and I know this is just shameless self-promotion. Go watch his Walking and Talking because you could see it.
I think that's probably what tipped the scales.
Well, he's like, this guy, Steve
one
Peters,
per week,
buddy.
One Walking
really
and Talking per week.
Oh, buddy. Because we talked about it. And is the door closed? And I think he got to say it. And he also said about the disparaging comments that were made about the Coyotes. And I think you got to address that too. Look, this guy is going to be the number one center of this franchise for a very long time. And that's no knock to Barrett Hayton. We've always said Barrett Hayton's a 2 or a 3. And I think if Barrett Hayton's a 2 or a 3 on your team, you've got a good hockey team. And I think McBain down the middle of the ice, I love Nick Bjugstad as a player and in the locker room, but I don't think Nick Bjugstad's going to be on this lineup when this team gets
2 years, right? Connor Geekie.
Yeah. So, and I think Bjugstad will be out of that rotation by then. And then you look at the center ice and you go, oh my. Yeah. You finally do
you still feel like they need one more guy?
Yeah,
would you feel a lot better with this system if they had one more top 6 center?
I do, but you look at the age of all 4 of those guys, and to win the cup, I mean, you'd have to wait till these guys are 27 or 28 till you go. So you got to no, but I'm just saying that's why you got to get one of those veteran centermen in there that's been there. Yeah. And I talk about Antoine Vermette, Brad Richardson. You need that. You need a guy that's been around, understands it, has won, and knows what it takes to win in this league. I think that's important. And if you have 4 centermen that are 24, I would be concerned. That's all. And I think one of those guys will end up getting pushed to the wing.
Well, and if we're looking at the St. Louis Blues model of building a team to win a Stanley Cup, who says that guy can't come in a trade? Another top 6
It's hard.
center.
It's hard to do, but it's not
It's
impossible.
hard to do, but
They got 2.
They have so many
And
draft
Bill, we
They
picks.
got
trust.
Ryan O'Reilly and Braden Shen by a trade.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
They have so many draft picks. They have so many prospects. At one point, this team will transition from being a seller to being a buyer, and they will have the assets to be a buyer. Okay, well, let's talk about. Tim said, "I just ordered my Logan Cooley jersey."
I've got some terrible news for Tim.
Oh, did he do the wrong number?
I just ordered my Logan Cooley jersey, he said.
Oh no!
And then Premium said, what number did you go with?
Oh no, Tim!
And Tim said, he's 18 last time
Oh
I
no,
checked.
Tim!
Uh-oh,
We
Tim.
just found out.
Get on the
It's
phone.
Oh,
92.
Tim.
Get
It's
on the phone.
92.
Well, again, he hasn't signed with the team, and it's not purported. But based on their cryptic tweet about 92, and what is, if you're going to be Logan Cooley in the National Hockey League, what are you going to wear? You're wearing 92. Like 92 is cool.
It is a cool number.
Yeah.
92. So I believe, and he has yet to sign. So when he signs, he did wear 18 in development camp. He did wear 18 as in this organization, but I do believe Logan Cooley is going to wear number 92, Tim.
Tim said, "Return policy, baby, we Gucci." Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So with that,
What is the return policy? You got a good one?
I don't know. With that in mind, let's pull up,
Here we go.
and we're gonna do this digitally, not on the whiteboard.
Yeah, we
but-
had to because of all this changing bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore.
All right, so let's look, and this is what is on the screen is just a starting
Point. Gotta start somewhere.
So we talked about on Monday that Cooley would completely turn this on its head, and it has. Petey, I'm going to throw it to you to kind of take us through the start of this.
Yeah, and when I said yesterday when we had the whiteboard in here on, actually it was Monday, and we talked about Logan Cooley, if he signs, we'll throw him at the first line center. We won't. I think that puts the expectations too high for him. I think he will get time to play with Keller and Schmaltz. I just think you're going to see him at power play. I think you're going to see it situational. I think they're going to try to protect his ice time to start. And the way you do that is you surround him with experienced National Hockey League players. So I left the top line of Keller, Hayton, and Schmaltz together. I've been watching video over the last 2 days. Yes, I actually did watch video. Those 3 guys were really, really good together, and they each did their jobs. So I think that line stays the same. But I think with Zucker and Kerfoot coming in,
Yeah, I love that idea.
I think they shelter, and I think Cooley has to play in the middle. I don't want him to start in the wing. I don't want him to be that guy. We're talking about him being the number 1 center. He's got to play center.
Yep.
So put him in the middle of the ice, put him with 2 responsible, very good two-way forwards that are going to help him in this league. Get him the puck. They understand the assignment.
Yeah.
Like they get it. Get him the puck.
And then how much do you love that third line?
And then
at
the
this
third
point?
line now, Kraus, Bukestad, Michelli is a line that stayed together last year that was able to put up points,
Yep.
could play in the defensive zone. That's a line you can put out at any time on either end of the ice. And now it's your third line, your second line. The problem with this, and people may scream now, is Dylan Guenther's on your fourth line.
Let him scream.
But keep in mind, and this is where people keep saying, this is where Dylan Guenther last year was in juniors.
Yep.
He was in juniors.
And what was his role when he was in the NHL? He didn't play a lot of 5-on-5
he
minutes.
played power
on
play.
the
Like 13
He was a
minutes.
power play shooter.
Yep.
And so he'll still get his power play minutes. I think he'll be second power play group, but he'll get his power play time there, and that's where he fits. That's going to be, that line, Carcone, McBain, and Guenther, well, 22 is going to the blue paint.
Yeah.
And he's
That's a
going to
fun
get there.
line, to be honest.
And he's going to get there hard. And Guenther can play on the periphery then. Let McBain do all the dirty work. Gunther's just get the puck, Guenther. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to shoot. That's all you're going to. McBain is going to take the over on McBain goals, because what's going to happen? Gunther's going to end up shooting. Carcone's going to dig it out of the corner because he's unbelievable little rattle on the walls. And then McBain's going to be in the blue paint tapping him in. Like, McBain is going to get so many off his ass, tipped in off his stick, and garbage goal second opportunities. It's going to be
Jack,
fire.
you have some skill too. We know that. So we're not saying that it's the other body.
I like
punch.
this. And you know what I feel bad for? We talk about
Travis
Boyd and
Boyd.
O'Brien.
Yeah.
Like, is Boyd now expendable?
I mean, I like him.
Because they're not keeping 14 forwards.
No,
Very
I don't think
unlikely.
they'll keep 14 forwards up. So I do wonder what happens there. And the other thing that this does, now if you sign Jan Jenik and, again, I have no idea where that one's going, and Jack McBain, we assume you're at your maxing contracts at 50 now. So they like to have some flexibility. So I do wonder if they are going to make a move at some point. They don't need to do it right now.
Yeah.
You can wait and see what you've got at camp. You can wait and see if guys are healthy before you make all those decisions. But Travis Boyd's really going to have to work to get into this lineup. Can he play the off wing? Can he play, the left side? Can they move McBain at times to the left side and let Boyd play between them? I think there are ways for him to get into the lineup. It's going to be really hard for Liam O'Brien to crack the lineup now.
And you're right. Carcone's a guy that probably isn't going to play 82 games this year. He's going to be in and out of the lineup guy. You are going to get injuries. We clearly know how this league is. So Boyd is a guy that's versatile enough that literally can play any forward position. He can play top 6, he can play bottom 6. So I think he'll get his minutes. When you look at Liam O'Brien and his ice time, it's going to be situational. I mean, there are going to be times when this team needs to flex their muscle and they need to be a little tougher, or where you got to go in. Remember the old days when you played the LA Kings, buddy, you better be able to put out some meat on the lineup. And I think that's where you'll see O'Brien be a little more situational. I don't know if he's going to get the amount of games that are going to make him happy.
We talked about the power play yesterday. What do your power plays look like now?
See,
do you not have 2 defensemen on a power play now?
Yeah, I think Cooley's got to jump on that second power play to start. I think, and this is where we talk about easing a guy in. I think when you looked at Shane Wright, we'll talk about Shane Wright in Seattle last year. You got, Shane Wright's the guy. He was going to be first overall, and you're going to the minors. So Logan Cooley, let's go. Hey, guess who's the star on this team? It's number 9. Yep. It's Clayton Keller. He is the all-star of this team. He's the leader of this team offensively. He's still the guy. He's the guy that's getting the offensive touches. He's the guy that's getting the power play touches, and he's going to be on your number 1 power play. Logan Cooley, we think you're the future. You're the future star of this team. We're going to put you on the second power play. We're going to ease you in there. You'll get 45 seconds on the back end of the power play. You're going to get your looks. And you know what? That second power play with Krause and Michelli, and now we talked about, you know what the problem was last time, Craig? They didn't have a centerman. Well, now they do. And so I think he's on a second power play unit, and he centers that group, and you play 4 forwards, and somebody's going to have to drop off on the back end.
You guys want to play a little trivia?
Oh, I thought you hate trivia.
Well,
he does when he's
he likes being the trivia master.
When I'm in control, I like it. Thanks, Sean.
That is good. You know what? That is solid producing right there.
I like that.
When you can fire that up.
I had no idea it was coming.
All right.
Thank you for that.
What?
Who are the other 2 players to wear 92 in Coyotes history?
Shit. No,
I don't know.
Well, one of them's wearing it right now.
Kolyachonok?
Yeah.
That's thanks to the chat.
He's going to have to give it up, apparently.
Kolyachonok. I did not know that. And another one, Sergei Berezan?
This one's going to blow you away because he only wore it for a season. He wore a different number, but he had to
Leeson?
wear it in the 1998 season.
Tocchet.
Rick Tocchet. Yeah.
Tocchet wore it.
Wow.
And then he went to 22. He had to wear, you know why he had to wear 92?
Tell me.
Mike Gartner.
There you
took
go.
22.
There you go.
One of
That's
the
a good
Hall
reason.
of Famer, Mike
Exactly.
Gartner.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Wow. I've been here a long time.
I just want to get to one question in the chat from Frankie, who asks, is he 100% in the NHL if he signs and then struggles at training camp?
No. But it's a tough thing to say, Logan Cooley, you're going to the AHL. But if it's the right move, I hope they have the courage to do it, and I hope they can talk through it too, right? Hey, make him understand. Look, this is temporary. It's not like you're going to spend a lot of time down there, but we feel like you could work on some things that could really help you. I hope they have the courage to do that if it's necessary. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. They're going to have a tough time with that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a tough time because you can see how excited the fan base is on this. The fan base here in Arizona needed some good news, period. This is good news. And that will be hard to say, hey, he's going down. Not saying he can't or he shouldn't. I just don't think he's going to. He's heading down under. I would bet on that one. Can you imagine that? Can we all go now? Craig's been fighting for Australia forever, right?
Oh man. And Joe makes a good point. 9 times 2 is 18.
There you go.
So
Just it changes the way you think about covering this team too, doesn't it?
it's exciting.
Yeah.
Leah and I have talked about this a lot, Craig. We've
hope for
sat here
stories.
over the last 2 seasons, many nights. One after getting their ass kicked, going, "Oh yay, that's good, they lost." But that is no, like we are going to sit here in this studio, rooting for this team to win games. That is just
Crazy.
Crazy.
I don't even know.
As
how.
someone who talks about the Arizona Diamondbacks, it is a very nice feeling.
yes.
It feels very good.
I remember when the D-back show was in tank season. We were both in tank season at the
Yes.
same time. So listen, I mean, the D-backs have stumbled, but it's been exciting
back.
to watch for the most part. For Logan Cooley, when he does get here, it's going to be a big transition going from, maybe living in a college dorm to then getting his own place here. He might listen, like living on your own for the first time, it's tough. And one of the tougher things that you don't realize takes up a lot of time and effort is buying furniture for an apartment. Like you don't realize how much stuff you need. And you don't realize how much you have to build yourself, which is why Logan Cooley should check out More Furniture for all his furniture needs, because they can do the white glove delivery, deliver all of the furniture already assembled. He won't have time. He'll be maybe in Australia. Then he'll come home and it'll be perfectly assembled. That's what's so great about More Furniture. They hooked us up here in our office with all of our furniture. We got the white glove delivery, which was so helpful for us as we were all moving here in August, which is not pleasant at all.
Most of us.
You can save big on the best furniture in the Valley when you head to morefurniture.com. That's morfurniture.com. And also, Logan, it's not cloudy here like it is in Minnesota. You got to get your sunglasses. In fact, it's sunny like 350 days of the year. So get ready, get your sunglasses, get yourself some Shady Rays, Logan Cooley.
If you want to be cool.
And you can match up. All of us here at PHNX have Shady Rays. I know a ton of people who watch and listen to the show do too, because the deal they give our listeners is so amazing. ShadyRays.com. Use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. If you don't love them, you can exchange them or return them for free within 30 days. There's absolutely no risk. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Okay, we gotta wrap up here. I'm sure this isn't the last time we're gonna talk about Logan Cooley. This isn't the last time we're gonna do lines, I'm sure. We will also talk about it when it becomes official. But before we wrap up here, a couple of just, I guess, quick hitter notes that we were gonna talk about, but news
changed that.
News changes, but I'll throw it to you.
R.I.P. Rocky Wirtz. And listen, that has been a controversial franchise. And all that's part of the discussion, but Rocky Wirtz passed away at 70. In spite of all the stuff that's happened recently with the Blackhawks, he is the one that sort of changed the narrative of that franchise and got them to the point where they won 3 Stanley Cups. He's a big part of that. So R.I.P. Rocky Wirtz.
Yep.
And then Sebastian Aho with that mega contract, one of 2 players, I think, signed
through 2032.
They'll hate that contract.
8 more years. They will hate that contract.
8-year, $78 million extension. That's an AAV of 9.75
They will
through
hate that contract at the end of it, but that's reality. Anyway.
Happy birthday, Sebastian Aho. What a birthday gift to sign a mega contract on your 26th birthday.
Petey, is there something you wanted to talk about?
There definitely is.
There is?
Hiking?
Oh! I was reading
It's
Dad
in the
Joke
rundown,
Wednesdays.
by the way.
It is in the rundown?
Yeah.
Hiking. Please, can I...
Sean, just like the electric shock therapy we talked about to remind him.
So it's hot here. Can we all agree it's hot? It is day 27 of over 110 and above. When they come on the news and say, don't hike in the heat, buddy, that means you. That means you. It means everybody. It doesn't mean I'm 20 and athletic, I can do this, or I'm 30 and I'm a nurse, I can do this, or I'm 79 and I'm from Minnesota. No, it means you, all of you. Stay off the goddamn mountain so we don't have to see the news. Please, because we want you to all be healthy so you can listen to our show and hit thumbs up and like it. So we want you to be healthy first, but we don't have all our firemen and our rescue crews that really need to spend time rescuing people that really need them, getting your ass off of a mountain. Like, what are you thinking? Stay inside. They do videos on YouTube, and there is a Peloton. Stay indoors. That means no more hiking. Stay home. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been PD Soapbox.
No, I agree, though.
God, that pisses me off.
What do you think?
Oh, it's 120 and someone passed out. Well, we didn't bring any water. We're here from Minnesota. Bring some goddamn water.
Just don't go.
Don't go.
You know when we
Just
walked the dog, Craig?
go.
You know when I walked the dog today?
Yeah.
5 o'clock a.m.
Yeah.
You know what? At
Buddy.
5 a.m. it was still hot.
Yeah.
But I didn't fall over because it was in the 80s. Don't go.
Just don't go. And you know what? Just wait till September and go in the morning in September. You'll be fine. You can wait. Or drive 2 hours to Flagstaff or Payson and hike there.
Sorry. Did you hear about my son?
Oh, here we go.
He was chewing on an electrical cords, so I had to ground him.
Oh, boy. There it is.
We did not even, Craig and I were like, yeah, you know what? No dad joke Wednesday
I think the
today.
dad joke thing is dead, but Petey didn't
But I'm
think
so terrified to ask my wife to clean up after breakfast that I've been walking on eggshells all day.
Oh, boy.
Please, Leah,
I
take
don't
us,
trust the stairs.
Okay.
They're
last
always
one.
up to something.
Okay.
take us out of here, Leah.
All right.
Get us out of here.
What you can do instead of hike when it's 120 is sit indoors in air conditioning and drink a Four Peaks beer. About halfway through the show, I realized Petey was drinking a Kill Lifter.
Kill lifter.
It's Logan Cooley Day.
Yeah.
It's Kill Lifter Day.
The temperatures are not cooling down quite yet. So Four Peaks will keep you cool in the meantime inside and responsibly. Check out Four Peaks wherever you buy your beer. It's on tap pretty much anywhere you can eat in Arizona as well. And you can always check out the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. Great food, great vibes as well. So check out at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. And last but not least, become a diehard. There's so many great perks to becoming a diehard. It's only going to get better from here. You get access to our Discord. You get 20% off merchandise. You get 20% off events. I saw someone ask earlier what my shirt is. It's our exclusive Nashville trip shirt that only the people who went on the Nashville trip got. And those people were all diehards, so they got 20% off on that trip as well. Craig's mailbag is out. That's for diehards only. So just a ton of reasons to become a diehard, including something that we are starting today for the very first time, the first ever diehard only hangout in the Discord. This is going to be a live conversation. We're going to be on video. Petey's going to share a screen and do real life Petey's Puck Talk, tell stories, show pictures, and this is for exclusively for diehards. So if you're not a diehard, you need to become one today to get into our diehard Discord lounge. If you are a diehard and don't know how to get into the lounge, tweet at me, DM us. We will send you the link to get in. But this is going to be a lot of fun. So that's today at 6 p.m. Arizona time. We'll send instructions this afternoon in the Discord, but we're really looking forward to this.
It's surprising. I've been really nervous about this. I have very high anxiety.
You stressed about something?
I have put a lot of time into this.
Shocking.
There are pictures. There are videos.
You always put a lot of time into your
There's
work.
going to be some hockey videos. We're going to break down a little bit. This one isn't going to be as hockey centric as some of the ones that are working on in the future. Can I give it a little tease?
You're still pulling back the curtain on Oz, though. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, one of the things we're gonna look at.
I
didn't understand the reference, but we're going to see the Wizard. We talk about system play a lot.
Yep.
So I went back into the vault and I pulled out. This is a tease. I pulled out the 4 checks from training camp of Dave Tippett versus Rick Tocchet, and you'll see it's just a couple of slides, but you'll see the main difference on what those two different coaches were trying to accomplish on the forecheck. That's a tease. That's going to be part 2.
Really looking forward to this.
Really looking forward to it as well.
Uh-oh.
That's it for us today. We will keep everybody updated on when the Cooley signing becomes official, but this has just been a really exciting day to be a Coyotes fan. So for those of you who are here in the chat as we reacted to this live, we appreciate you. Again, hit the like button on this video, and if you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact, like, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and you could follow us on Twitter at Craig S. Morgan, at Leah Merrill, at S. Peters Hockey, at Sean_DePause. Follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes, and be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel so you never miss when we go live. We'll be live Thursday and Friday at 11 a.m. We're live at 11 a.m. every single day, even in the off season. So we appreciate everybody's support and patience with us as we, take in the news live with everybody else. So this has been really fun. Appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will see everybody tomorrow.